Elevating Amazon Lex with Lambda, a comprehensive guide. This podcast is brought to you by Business Compass LLC. We are an Amazon Web Services advanced consulting partner. We build and migrate workloads to Amazon Cloud. Our website is businesscompassllc.com. Our phone number is 973-638-2228. Our email address is contact@businesscompassllc.us. Amazon Lex is a powerful service for building conversational interfaces using voice and text. By integrating Lambda functions, you can significantly enhance the functionality of your Lex bots. This podcast will walk you through building and integrating Lambda functions to validate bot input, craft messaging proxies, and connect API gateway for a seamless experience. Building a Lambda function to validate Lex bot input. Step 1. Create a Lambda function. Navigate to the AWS Lambda console and create a new function. Select Author from scratch, give your function a name, and choose a runtime, for example, Python 3.8. Step 2. Define the function code. In the function code editor, add logic to validate the input from the Lex bot. Here's a simple example in Python. Import JSON. Def lambda _ handler event, context. Slots equals event current intent slots. Response equals. Is valid? True. Violated slot? None. Message? None. If not slot name. Response is valid, equals false. Response violated slot, equals slot name. Response message, equals, content type, plain text, content. Please provide a valid input. Return, dialog action. Type, illicit slot. Slot to illicit. Response violated slot. Message. Response message. Response card, none. Step 3. Configure the Lambda function permissions. Ensure your Lambda function has the appropriate permissions to interact with Amazon Lex. Attach a policy granting the Lambda invoke function action to the function, integrating your Lambda function for enhanced Lex functionality. Step 4. Link Lambda function to Lex bot. Select your bot in the Amazon Lex console and navigate to the Fulfillment section. Choose AWS Lambda function and specify the ARN of your newly created Lambda function. This will allow Lex to invoke your Lambda function during the conversation flow. Validating your bot. Putting your Lambda function to the test. Step 5. Test your bot. Use the Lex console to test your bot. Provide inputs that should trigger validation logic in your Lambda function. Observe the responses and ensure that invalid inputs are correctly identified and handled. Crafting a Lambda messaging proxy. Step 6. Create a proxy Lambda function. Sometimes, you might need to route messages through a proxy before they reach your Lex bot. Create another Lambda function to serve as this proxy. Import JSON. Import Boto3. Def lambda _ handler event, context. Lex _ client equals Boto3.client Lex runtime. Response equals Lex _ client.post _ text. Bot name equals your bot name. Bot alias equals your bot alias. User ID equals test user. Input text equals event input text. Return. Status code, 200. Body. JSON.dumps response. Step 7. Test your proxy function, a Lambda console walkthrough. Using the Lambda console, test your proxy function by simulating an event with the input text parameter. Verify that the function routes the message to Lex and returns the expected response. The final link, connecting API gateway and your Lambda proxy. Step 8. Set up API gateway. Create a new API and configure a resource with a post method in the API gateway console. Set the integration type to Lambda function and specify your proxy Lambda function. Step 9. Deploy the API. Deploy your API to a stage and note the endpoint URL. The Lambda proxy can now send messages to your Lex bot using this URL. Conclusion. Integrating Lambda functions with Amazon Lex allows you to add robust validation, proxy messaging, and API gateway functionality to your conversational interfaces. Follow these steps to enhance your Lex bots and provide a more robust user experience. Thank you for listening to our podcast. Please share this podcast, visit our website, and follow our social media links.